It is now 10 o'clock and we're coming out of executive session. There's no decisions to be made as a result of the executive session. So we are now going to our 2021 budget and capital improvement program hearing. And for this, again, for the record, all three commissioners present, as well as senior management team, and Mr. Petrovich.
Thank you.
The floor over to you.
Very good. Well, this is a continuation of previous meetings that we've had, roundtable discussions and public hearings on the budget. And hopefully today we'll be able to adopt the final budget. In the last meeting, as you know, we did the 1% property tax and the road levy shift. That resulted in general fund deficit balance of $2,559,895. So we took a look at using fund balance to balance the general fund balance budget for 2021. That's what we did. So we ended up with a general balanced general fund balance, and a recap of all of those was sent to the board with the general fund departments listed. And overall, countywide, we have exhibit attachment A that shows annual expenditure budget for 2021 of $598,278,046 plus annual expenditure continuing appropriation.
Gary, what document are you talking about?
Attachment A.
Is it loaded on this thing?
On the resolution?
I just think if somebody's zooming in on the meeting and stuff, they want to see it.
Sure.
I couldn't find it, Jane.
What's the title of the document, Gary?
Comprehensive budget, all funds.
Yeah.
Pull the one.
That on there?
I don't have it in my file, in my folder.
Yeah, I don't have an attachment on the email I got that says budget all funds. I don't have one that's titled that.
Can you just email it to me, Gary?
I'm looking for it now.
Yeah, I agree. It's not, I don't have it in my packet that Jim printed for me either, or on the email.
I'll email it back to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like this.
Pull it up to the screen. It looks like this.
Get closer to the camera, Al.
We've all seen it. See, Tessa's on the line.
All right, I'm sending those attachments to all the commissioners, to you, Gina, and to Ron again.
Yeah, I just sent it.
Final all funds?
Yeah.
Are you able to see the budget on the screen now? Okay,
Yep. And we got it emailed to us as well.
okay. So now that they have it in front of them, do you want to start over?
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
I'll just recap what we did from our meetings last week. First of all, we took the property tax shift, and that increased revenues 6.1 million. I revised my sales tax estimate upwards of $500,000 to bring it to the same budget of sales tax that we had in this year, 2020, because I feel confident that the revenues were coming in at a pretty good rate. And I also based that on estimates from the State Office of Financial Management, who also upwardly adjusted their revenue figures. And then there were some miscellaneous revenue increases of $43,000 to bring our estimated general fund revenue budget up to $200,160,000. On the expense side, we took that 6.1 million road levy shift and we are transferring that out to county road. And that amount that we're transferring out is $3,270,000. There was a reduction in the capital budget as a result of using what was remaining of the 6.1 lid levy shift to capital, and that put our capital budget in the general fund at 2.83 million. And then there was an increase in cost to fund pretrial services 1.5 FTE for felony prosecutions, and that was about $112,000. That brought the general fund expense budget total up to $202,720,000. So that difference between what we now had for revenue estimates and expenditure estimates ended up being exactly $2,559,895,000. So in the attachment A for all funds, you'll see that we use that to total up our general fund and non-general fund funds. The bottom line total on the second sheet there that Gina has up on the screen is $598,278,046 for annual expenditures, plus an additional $77,045,272 for continuing appropriations, for a total of $675,323,318. On the next attachment, which is just information for the departments comprising the general fund, it just lists the general fund departments. You want to put that on the screen too? Very good. And so that's just a rundown of all of the departments and cost centers in the general fund. And expenditures are showing at $202,720,664. And over the course of the last week, I've received numerous requests asking how we would, or where in those line items are the funding for the redistricting that the commissioners will have to fund, or the county will have to fund in 2021. And because those redistricting commissioners have yet to be selected, we don't know what those costs will be. So they're not specifically included as a line item within our initial 2021 budget. However, they will be funded. It's just a question of when we know those costs. we will insert those into the 2021 budget through a budget amendment process.
Is it fair to say, based upon this current budget, though, that those revenues to cover those expenses will more than likely come out of reserves?
Probably.
Okay.
So Gary, I have a question on the redistricting committee. I guess I have not been through that yet. So is that's different than the 5 commissioner bill, correct?
Same thing.
They have to draw the districts up first before they decide where the boundaries are for the 5 commissioners.
Okay. So
Yeah,
then potentially, if that's a redistricting for the 5 commissioner bill, since that's a bill that's putting more funding on us, I think, based on what I'm seeing with WASAC, that potentially unfunded mandates, then we can actually bill to the state legislature, since they're the ones that are causing us to incur the cost.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Gary, and he's tracking all of those costs. And we fully expect that we're going to be submitting a bill to the state as part of the unfunded mandate judgment that was issued against the state, assuming that it survives. But we are tracking the cost to be able to submit a bill to the state for it. Jim?
And board members, as we all know, the 5 commissioner bill, there's a time frame of almost 180 days or longer that the redistricting committee has to be formed, to meet, to come up with the redistricting plan, to publish the redistricting plan, and to have hearings on it, and then ultimately to certify it to the auditor's office. And so until we go through that process, and as Commissioner French has alluded to, we track all our billings, we won't be able to bill the legislature. And then if the legislature refuses to fund that, then the next step, as we're familiar with, like the mailboxes for the voting, we'd have to bring a lawsuit against the state requiring them to reimburse us for these unfunded mandate expenditures.
Okay. Any other questions for Gary?
Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, I saw some of the, some of the folks urging, to amply or adequately fund the redistricting commission. Being something that's never happened before, does anybody even have the slightest idea on what that would even cost?
Commissioner
Jim?
French?
I mean, I don't even, even if we did want to put a dollar amount to it today, what would it even be? I mean, it's never happened before in a county this way. So I don't even know if we desired to put a dollar amount, how we would even come up with that number today.
Commissioner Kearns, Mr. Maceo speaking. I was brainstorming with some other staff with regard to this. The law says that the legislative body must provide adequate funding and resources, Commissioner Kearns, which are undefined terms. But we do know that the redistricting committee is going to need staffing. We do know they're going to need laptops. We do know they're going to need places for meetings. We do know that they're going to want to take advantage of some of our IT department. We do know that they may need some input from our elections department. And so, as you point out, at the present time, we have not put a price tag on any of those because we feel that the redistricting committee needs to have input on what they feel they need in order to complete their statutory responsibilities. So I think it's somewhat premature, board members, for us to guess on that until they are formed and they submit a request to us, and then that'll give you an opportunity to look that over.
So when Clark County was going through the process of going to a charter, they had to go through a redistricting committee process as a result of the charter amendment. And in conversations, and this is going back several years, but I was told that the total cost to Clark County was around $500,000 by the time you pay for the consultants, staff time, everything else. So, you know, I've always, and we've consistently carried forward that the cost for doing this is going to be around $500,000. But we won't know until we're in it.
Yeah, it's impossible to know now.
Okay. Any other questions for Gary or anybody else with regard to the budget? Okay. So then, we are taking a motion today to pass it, right? So the chair is open to a motion.
Mr. Chair, move to approve the 2021 budget as presented.
We haven't had any public.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm
Sorry.
premature. I got to open it up for anybody in the audience who'd like to provide any testimony. I didn't see anybody on the screen, so I jumped ahead. So I apologize, Commissioner Kearns. That was my mistake. So unless there's any other questions, I'll open up the hearing for anybody who wants to provide any testimony on the 2021 budget. And I will state for the record, we've received 13 emails requesting that we make sure that we fund the redistricting committee, and so those will be made part of the record. So anybody in the audience like to provide any testimony on 2021 budget? Second call for anybody who wants to provide testimony. Third,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Somebody speak up.
Yes, my name is Ann Murphy. I'm president of the League of Women Voters of the Spokane area. So thank you for that discussion. You answered many of my questions with regard to the redistricting committee. So we'll look forward to further conversation with you on that and understand the difficulties of a specific amount at this point, but do want to make sure that this moves forward. I would also like to ask, since you referenced attachment A at the beginning of your meeting that none of you had, none of us have seen it either. So where will that be posted, and how can one get that before a meeting?
If you, we can email it to you, and then it will be posted on the county website when the budget is adopted. It's not that anybody didn't have it. It's that the distribution list on it didn't include all of the attachments and stuff. The resolution was emailed, but the attachments were not all included. So, but we can email that to you if you'd like, Ann. If you could contact Gina, we can get it to you. But otherwise, it'll be posted on the county website.
Right, I will connect with Gina, and yes, I did have the resolution, but without the attachments, the resolution was difficult to deal with. So thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you for calling. Okay, so anybody else out there that would like to provide any testimony on the 2021 budget? Okay, hearing nobody speak up, I'm going to go ahead and close the hearing on the 2021 budget. And now, Commissioner Kearns, before you set the motion, I've got Mr. Maceo here that likes to make a comment.
Thank you, Chairman French. Board members, I made a typographical error when I was working on the resolution that was placed on the agenda today. And you'll see on the first, be it further resolved, on the last line, I put 2012. If you go down a little bit farther, and that should be 2021, board members. That was a typographical error, and thank you from John Dixon for correcting that.
There's two of them, actually, both the
Well, the other
January
one, the other one is correct. And then the other suggestion, as the person who testified, is this particular document identifies attachment A, and there's actually attachment A and attachment A-1, both of which the budget director referred to. So if you make a motion to approve the resolution and budget as presented, it will include attachment A and attachments A1. Is that correct, Mr. Budget Director?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, Commissioner Kearns.
Mr. Chair, move to approve the adoption of the 2021 budget as presented with the correction of the Scribner's error, changing year 2012 to 2021, and to include attachment A and A-1.
I'll second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any additional comments? Seeing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Let the record reflect the motion passed unanimously. Thank you. So then that gets us to the matter of clarifying capital improvement plan for 2020 through 2025, which is referenced in the capital facilities element of the Spokane County Comprehensive Plan adopted under resolution number 20-0129. Mr. Petrovich.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to handle this if I can, with your permission.
You bet.
Thank you very much, board members. I had the clerk of the board provide to each one of you a copy of the background for this particular item, which you'll see now on the screen. The second document you'll see are a decision and findings, which I prepared in anticipation that the Board of County Commissioners would approve the item which I'll talk about. And then finally, the third item is actually the notice of public hearing on this particular item. As Chairman French announced, the purpose of this hearing is simply for the Board of County Commissioners to clarify its present capital improvement plan. As the Board of County Commissioners is aware, at the same time they adopt their budget, they can amend their comprehensive plan. And so that's why this item is in front of you today. The proposed amendment to your comprehensive plan is simply to clarify one of the capital projects identified therein. At the present time, your capital facilities plan references a capital improvement plan and identifies that you're going to fund that with various resources. The present capital improvement plan identifies a project as regional SAR, DEM, LE, and detention training / civil service. The purpose of the public hearing is to change that particular public project and identify it as governmental agency training facility. The second clarification is to provide that that particular governmental facility will be funded by REIT 1, REIT 2, general fund, and debt service. The reason this clarification is being brought to the Board of County Commissioners is because, as you're aware, REIT 1 and REIT 2 taxes cannot be used to fund any capital projects unless they are specifically identified in your capital facilities plan or your capital improvement plan. So what today we have in front of you is clarifying your capital improvement plan. So it specifically changes the name of the capital project regionally, previously known as Regional SAR, DEM, LE, and Detention Training Civil Service. We're changing that to Governmental Agency Training Facility. And we're changing the funding for that capital project to make it clear that it can be funded by REIT 1, REIT 2, General Fund, or Debt Service. Again, this is simply a clarification, and this is a public hearing, Chairman French. Unless the board has any questions, that's all the overview that I have for you.
Any questions for Mr. Maceo? All right, seeing none. This is a public hearing, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the hearing for anybody who would like to provide any testimony on in the matter of clarifying the capital improvement plan 2020 to 2025, which was referenced in the capital facilities element of the Spokane County Comprehensive Plan adopted under resolution number 20-0129. So second call for anybody who would like to provide any testimony. Third and final call for anybody wanting to provide testimony on the matter before us. Seeing or hearing nobody come forward, I'm going to close the hearing and look to my fellow commissioners for direction.
Chairman French, because this is such a complex issue, I did prepare a proposed motion, which was a part of the background for the county commissioners to possibly consider after a public testimony on this item.
So, Mr. Amacio, would you be so kind as to read the motion that you're proposing?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I actually have had Mr. Valencia place it on the screen, and so all the Board of County Commissioners can look at it. I apologize for its complexity, but sometimes these are complex items.
Mr. Kearns.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the clarification of the capital improvement plan as presented and set forth in the notice of public hearing under resolution number 20-0842, as well as signing the findings and decision prepared in conjunction wherewith this action simply clarifies the capital improvement plan so it is consistent with the capital facilities plan. It re-identifies the law enforcement capital improvement previously identified as regional SAR/DEM/LE and detention training /civil SVS as governmental agency training facility. It further clarifies the funding source of the governmental agency training facility as real estate excise tax number 1, RCW 82.46.010, real estate excise tax number 2, RCW 82.46.035, and general fund and debt.
That might have been a record, Commissioner Kearns.
I can't believe I remembered all of that right off the top of my head.
I know, that was really good.
It was so natural, too.
I will second the motion.
Thank you. I've got a motion and a second. It was masterful, Commissioner.
It was.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I've been memorizing it all week.
Yeah, you did a fine job. All right. Any comment on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let the record reflect the motion passed unanimously. Thank you. That then completes our hearing items for item number 4. So Mr. Gimmel is sitting here constantly admiring the motion. It's okay. So that gets us to miscellaneous items. So we are approaching the end of the year, so we need to review our meeting calendar for 2021, as well as board and committee appointments and stuff. So Gina, have you sent out the schedule for?
I will.
So the schedule for committees will be sent out this week, as well as the calendar for next year. And then we can spend some time at the next meeting adjusting or taking a look at it. We don't have to have anything approved until the first weekend in January, but if we want to take a look at it now, we can, or at least start a conversation. And then to remind you that we have some board and committee appointments that we need sign-offs on. The Civil Service Commission, Spokane County Library District, and Model Irrigation District, as well as some others that will be brought forward as part of the consent agenda once we make sure that we've got at least 2 commissioners that have signed off on them. So with that then, is there any other miscellaneous matters or any information for the benefit of the board? either one of you would like to come forward with? Mr.
Yeah.
Kearns.
I had one. I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know if this was sent to you two or not. About 10 days ago or so, got an email from Phil Champlin from the Hub. It had some attachments to it. They're asking folks to reach out to legislators and support kind of finding a way to what they're calling a need for a safe return to play plan for youth in the community. Looks like they had over 1,000 responses of folks that are kind of talking about the benefit of the Hub and kind of what it's provided for. Oh, is this it? Oh, yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah, there was a rally in Olympia over the weekend at the Capitol steps in support of this initiative.
Okay, I didn't know that. Oh, okay, I heard there was a rally. I didn't know it had to do with this, but yeah, essentially the point Phil is making is that it doesn't seem that there's been at least, I mean, his email says that there has not been connections with the spread of the virus in youth sports, or and so okay, so. I see. I assume that email was sent to the two of you as well, but I wasn't sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? So we're not meeting this afternoon. We will meet again tomorrow morning. For those, did we notice the 8 o'clock for tomorrow morning?
We did a notification on that I sent out. IT did verify that it went to the public. I just didn't receive it, but we have it on our website.
Okay. Very good. So then, and then we will have our CEO board briefing tomorrow morning starting at 10 o'clock. So without anything more coming for the board, it's now 10:33 and we adjourn.